alongside Richard. Since you were on the call throughout the evening, I'll give Perk the first bite of the apple here as we're together. The biggest difference to you tonight was what?
Hold on, what you got to say? What you got to say?
He always takes the first bite. I'm just
Why's it got to be like that?
I know him, Scott. I know him.
You know what I did? I went like this. It was like Peyton and the Rain Man back in the day. It was unintentional. The biggest difference was what?
I believe it was Chet Holmgren. I thought tonight he came out and set the tone. There was a lot of questions about, Coach Dagnall and the adjustment of the starting lineup, him going small, but Chet Holmgren allows them to go small. I thought today he was the difference maker on both ends of the floor, and at times, even when they went with the double big, his ability to be able to stretch the floor allows him and Isaiah Hartenstein to share the floor together. But on the defensive side of things, whether he was in the drop coverage, man-to-man, getting back in transition, the energy and his mindset was in the right place tonight.
I found Shay's comment interesting that he mentioned no one had to say a word to this young man. Everyone knew he would know what to do, and he did. I'm interested in the contributions off the bench. There's an old saying that Coach Collins had years ago about know your role, be a star in your role. I would think if you're Wiggins, and you've shown throughout the year you're capable of hanging a 40-piece all flats on people, it might be hard to be patient.
Yeah.
But when it was time, he stepped forward, and Caruso does exactly what's asked, if it's checking Jokic or if it's trying to score 20 tonight. What did their bench give them in your estimation?
Their bench was impressive, even if you look at the plus-minus. Hartenstein, who didn't score a bunch of buckets, didn't do a blunt, he was plus 17. Then you get Wiggins coming off plus 24. Those guys were the difference as far as the runs, the movement of the basketball. You didn't run one play for Wiggins, and he found an opportunity to get good shots, good looks. And that's the beautiful thing about this OKC team, is that everyone is going to get their opportunity to shine. You have a guy like Wiggins that didn't play much. Hartenstein gets taken out of the starting lineup, and he finds ways to be effective. I love the fact that they went with the double big lineup, and they went early. They got crushed on the glass in game one, and then you just look at the amount of second and third opportunities that they were able to get.
All right, if I could get you guys to take a 20 and we'll make it a full. We'll continue this conversation in just a moment after we hear Tyrese Halliburton's observations and reaction to what happened tonight.
No, I mean, this is who they are defensively. They got a lot of different guys who can guard the ball, fly around. They're really physical, force the officials to, let us play a little bit more. So just got to do a better job playing through there. I think I've had two really poor first halves. So, I just got to figure out how to be better earlier in games. But kudos to them. They're a great defensive team, but, watch the film, see where I can get better.
Left on the front row.
Zach Ostrow, the Indianapolis Star, kind of in that same vein, but Coach called your offense an ecosystem where, the more one guy succeeds, the more everybody succeeds. What have they done to disrupt that when they've had success, slowing you guys down offensively these first two games? Yeah, I think we just got to do a better job getting to the paint. It's a lot easier said than done, but, I feel like in the first half we were just moving the ball on the outside, and I don't think we had a single point in the paint in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So, our offense is built from the inside out. We got to do a better job getting downhill. They collapse and then, make plays from there. But, I thought we could improve a lot there. But yeah, man, they're flying around. They got great point of attack defenders. They got great rim protectors. It's a great defense. So we can do a lot better job, and we'll watch the film and see if we can get better, going into game 3.
So I got all these notes. I told Ty the other night, I said, look, every note I had from game 1 during the game was about the Thunder, and you made me have to throw it out. It was worthless because I forgot about you in the last 5 seconds. The notes I took about the first half, you didn't have a point in the paint. Well, they took a million threes, and I get it. Is it as simple, fellas, as they missed more looks early that would have kept them in the game, or was it sort of a game plan, maybe miscalculation? I don't know. What do you think of that?
Well, I love it that Tyrese said, I've got to get myself going earlier in the game. I've got to get feet in the paint. And you saw that in the fourth quarter. He had 5 going into the fourth. And then he gets those 12 points, but the game's out of reach. It's a 20-point game. Those are empty calories. Perkins knows about those. And so when I'm talking about a team like Halliburton leading that, can I finish, Scott?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, Stan.
Okay, so but this is what I'm saying, is that in those moments, Halliburton's the head head of the snake. So if that means come out and you got to put up 10, 11 shots in the first quarter to set the tone, to maybe open up the floor for your teammates, but they weren't attacking the paint enough. They weren't able to get out in transition, and just ultimately, you got to give credit to that OKC team. They are making it very difficult for them to find a rhythm and to understand how to play.
If there's an adjustment for Game 3 at home in Indiana, Perk, what do you expect it to be?
For them to make shots. That's the adjustment, and Rick Carlisle said it before Game 1. We have to make shots, and think about how they won Game 1. You had, me and Richard was talking about this earlier, Scott. You had Nembhard hitting tough contested threes. That's what you have to do against the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? You're going to have to play in the half-court set, and you're going to have to make tough contested shots. And see, this is why I'm hesitant to call Tyrese Halliburton a superstar.
I understand.
Right? He's on the rise. He's a star. But superstars, like at this point in the NBA Finals, you take your game to another level. And when I say another level, you can't come out and have these halves, these first halves that he's been having. You have to be aggressive. You're going to have to make shots. You're going to have to create shots for yourself. And you're going to have to find a way to get in the paint.
See, I think he is a superstar, and I think he's learning how to be a superstar. Sometimes in these moments, you've got to recognize he's got to go back in the lab and say, hey, you know what? I've got to come out and try and put up 15, 18 in the first half.
Same thing happened with the Knicks, though, in a game where you're like, it's just way too quiet for a guy whose force can be felt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's what we're seeing.
All right, fair enough.
We did see one superstar tonight,
Ooh,
SGA. And it wasn't just the 34, it was the 8 assists. So when you're able to get your 34 and make guys around you better, that's what superstars do.
Moves at his own pace, never in a hurry. Gets where he wants on his own time. All right, gentlemen, we appreciate your time. Back in D.C., we've been down this road before. We've seen this. Sometimes you kind of know what's coming. I anticipated that the home team would respond as they did. What was your sense of what we got from them today?
Well, there was a level of urgency that they needed to show. One of the things that has been an Achilles heel for this Oklahoma City Thunder team that has been a top #1 seed after the regular season over the last 2 years is their ability to close. The closer they are down the line, you got like a 3-6 record in 3-point games or less throughout this season, 1-4 in the postseason. So you had the mentality after watching the Indiana Pacers escape with Game 1. If they could somehow get it close, would Oklahoma City get tight, etc.? That didn't happen because Oklahoma City didn't allow it to happen because they exploded. Chet Holmgren came out of the block, 6 points in Game 1, 11 points in the first half in Game 2, 22% shooting in Game 1. 55% shooting in Game 2. He was definitely a factor. Pascal Siakam got rattled defensively because Oklahoma City was all over them. Tyrese Halliburton was a no-show for the first 40 minutes after winning Game 1. But then you look at Aaron Wiggins, you look at Alex Caruso combining for 9 threes, 9 of 16 from 3 off the bench for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is what you raved about when you looked at them all season long. Defensively, they would be there collectively. Offensively, Shea Butter, the MVP, SGA, you know what he's going to do. But who is it that's going to step up and help him? Tonight it was their bench, and they reminded us of who they are.
The thing with Halliburton, and this has been the back and forth, right, that we see throughout the playoffs, is the brilliance and his capabilities late.